This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Tuesday, 30 June, year of our Lord 2026. We're going to get right into it. Maybe have a cold open a little later. Eric Eggers, who is runs the operation Peter Schweizer is associated with and is Peter Schweizer's partner, along with Winton Hall. Eric's going to join us to talk about Birthright Citizenship. Remember, their magnificent book that came out earlier in the year talked about Chinese birther tourism and alerted everybody to the 1.5 million folks. Also, Eric is an expert in voter fraud. He wrote a book in 2018. He came out with a book that that group had done in research, and literally was a called shot on the coming stolen election in 2020. So Eric's going to join us a little while. Mark Lucas from Veterans Action. We're packed. I want to go, though, first to Dr. Jerome Corsi. Dr. Corsi, we had Wayne Allen Root on this morning that kind of teed up this national emergency executive order that you've been working on. Can you explain to our audience exactly what are we talking about? Because, you know, presidents put so much time and emphasis, and we're going to attach it to this bill, attach to that bill. It's a super high priority for this audience to help in any way possible of the Save America Act. You have another alternative, and I keep telling people, I think this alternative is incredibly relevant because there's another whole, it's a converging forces. There's, you know, Pulte is at DNI. John Solomon from our network has gone to the White House as an employee to run this task force. My understanding, and it'll be revealed probably next week, that they're unearthing dramatic evidence about foreign interference in the 2020 election. Dr. Corsi, the floor is yours. Can you walk us through this national security emergency executive order that you're talking about?
Yes, I've been working on this, Steve, since the second inauguration with Peter Ticktin, Ticktin, who's Donald Trump's personal attorney. Peter and President Trump have known each other since they were about 15 years old. They went to military academy together. And basically, we found overwhelming evidence that our algorithms, the codes in the state board of election databases that permit the creation of millions of false records, modified duplicates that can be then hidden in the database and pulled out in mail-in ballot fraud. It's how the Democrats have been winning elections. So a national security emergency, yes, there's ample evidence of foreign nations have interfered in the 2020 election and subsequently. There's ample evidence of massive, the evidence is actually legion of voter fraud, and it largely stems around the mail-in ballot fraud. You saw it in California with the extended days of counting. So what President Trump realizes is that we've been in a coup d'etat from not the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is dead. This is a Democratic Socialist Party, which is really a party, a revolutionary party. They've gone beyond neo-Marxism and cultural Maoism and anarchy. Now they actually want to destroy the country, and they're out there openly embracing anti-Semitism, embracing our enemies and the radical Islamic terrorist world, and crazy ideas of changing the sex of children, so children who now reach the age of puberty get sexually mutilated and can never have children themselves. I mean, the ideas are incredible. But what Donald Trump knows is that if he does not change the rules with an executive emergency order, that we will have only citizens voting, voter ID required, paper balloting, mail-in ballots eliminated from this overall general mail-in ballot back to the absentee ballot system, and no computers used to count the votes. If the Democrats don't care any longer, the Democratic Socialists, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal. They intend to steal the election. And the plan is that once the Democratic Socialists get in charge of the House and Senate, they'll impeach simultaneously President Trump and Vice President Vance. They'll remove them from office in the Senate. They'll charge them with treason through the Department of Justice, and they'll put Hakeem Jeffries in as president. That's the plan. And Donald Trump knows that the survival of the republic depends on a presidential executive order, which cannot be challenged in the courts, to require 2/3 vote in the House and Senate to overturn. If Donald Trump needed to, he can bring in the National Guard, as he had to do in Washington, D.C., to clean the streets, in order to take any state that refuses to cooperate and make sure their elections are held according to these rules. And that we've been working on. I've been working on that for 2 years. And it's a solution, the only solution possible here. Otherwise, this will be the last election we may ever have.
Hang on. So, Dr. Corsi, hang on a second. The audience is very familiar with Peter Tickton. We've had Peter on many, many times in his defense and the great work he did for Tina Peters and freeing Tina Peters. And by the way, audience, if you go to my Getter account, you'll see that Tina actually had lunch with the president today. Some great photographs in the Oval Office. So, Dr. Corsi, let's assume that this task force has evidence. You've got these algorithms. There's enough to lay a predicate that the president can do this national security emergency executive order about securing elections and doing the real punch list of what you're talking about. Walk us through, why is that executive order, and on what law or what guidance or what decision does it say it's not open to judicial review? And it's not open for lawsuits to slow it down immediately, sir?
Well, the President of the United States has the responsibility to defend the nation against foreign enemies and enemies within. But if there's clear evidence, which there is, of foreign interference in our elections, and it's amply documented, going to find Venezuela was deeply involved and Maduro is in custody. I strongly suspect we may hear from Maduro if he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison. I think we're going to find evidence that the computers have been compromised. We're going to find that the state boards of elections refuse to take out non-citizens or to eliminate rules that permit non-citizens to vote. So it's a national security emergency because this is a threat to the existence of the republic. If we don't have voter integrity, we do not have our constitutional rights. This is a core, fundamental constitutional right. And Donald Trump's well aware that if these Democratic Socialists gain power, that they will not relinquish it. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they do it with impunity. They tell you they're going to be only, all the old, tired communist slogans, tax the rich, all the other things they do. When they take power, all they do is destroy the economies of the cities they destroy, and they enslave the people who become dependent on federal welfare, which soon is exhausted. The only winners in a communist revolution are the small cadre of communists that engineer the thing for their personal benefit. That's been proven in history over and over again. So an executive order, that's an emergency executive order, is within President Trump's power to protect the Constitution and protect the nation of the United States and to hold a legitimate election. And Donald Trump is not going to allow this election to be stolen when there's so much ample evidence of foreign interference.
So this national security emergency, has this been tried before? Has it been challenged before? Is there a court case out there or a Supreme Court decision that says, yes, you can't, it's not subject to a further judicial review, but legislatively you can, if the Senate and House individually with 2/3 tried to overturn it, it can be overturned? Is that codified? Where do people go to see where that's laid out?
Well, it's precedent. If you just research it basically in Google and others, you'll find ample discussion of the issue. but it has to be an emergency executive order. It's a national security emergency. As a particular classification of executive order that President Trump has not yet issued. And the courts are not going to be able to, they have no authority to review it. He's commander in chief. The courts are not supreme over, the Supreme Court is not supreme over decisions made as executive, as commander in chief, especially not in an emergency situation. And Donald Trump declares that this is of such vital compromising to our rights as voters, that he's going to use this extraordinary power. Congress will not have time and will not be able to overturn it. The courts won't overturn it. And Donald Trump has the authority under many acts to put in the National Guard to states that refuse to clean up their voter registration databases or comply with other regulations. The Supreme Court decision today, again, narrows Donald Trump's alternatives. He's being blocked now on saying we can't have this extended days. The Supreme Court today even contradicted a decision they made in January in the BOST, the Illinois State Board of Election, where they said that a candidate can challenge the election before the voting, and extended days of counting mail-in ballots is intrinsically unfair and therefore unconstitutional. They just put that decision aside today and reaching the one where they came to allowing this additional counting. This additional counting is one of the fundamental ways elections are stolen. And they're stolen through mail-in ballots. We can prove it. Go to my website, gods5stones.com. You can see ample articles from Andrew Paquette where these algorithms have been found. And the Democrats can and will steal this election. I have no doubt about it. And therefore, Donald Trump has no choice but to intervene. Otherwise, the coup started with Obama when he began in 2020 to argue, actually earlier than that, 2016-18, arguing the Russian collusion. And I know, but they wanted to imprison me over that. They thought I had the tie to Julian Assange. I was before the Mueller investigation. So they put me in front of a jury in Washington, D.C. that imprisoned me the rest of my life. Or I could take a plea deal saying I knew Julian Assange and had the key link tying Assange to Donald Trump and Roger Stone and the Russian collusion, and they would go light on me. I prayed on it. I refused to take the plea deal. It destroyed my 32-year marriage. And instead of indicting me, which the Department of Justice did not do, they shut down the Mueller investigation with no further prosecutions. And they did that because I wouldn't bend. I wouldn't tell them that I could not imagine swearing to a lie before a judge and God to stay out of prison. I told them they might as well get ready and put me in prison the rest of my life, but I would not take their plea deal. So I know how ruthless these people are. And I know Donald Trump is legitimately going to exercise emergency powers, which are the only solution that we have to prevent the Democrats and Democratic socialists from stealing the election, which they most assuredly will do.
Dr. Corsi, if you could hang on for 1 second, I want to hold you through the break. Also, Mark Lucas is going to join us about this mail-in ballot fiasco and how it hurts troops in the field. They try to make it out that it helps. It actually hurts troops in the field. And Eric Eggers is going to be with us. Birch Gold's special runs out July 10th. Make sure you get access to it, review it, talk to Philip Patrick and the team about it. You can do two ways. Number one, take your phone out and text Bannon, Bannon, at 989898. And that gives you access, totally free, no obligation, to all the investment portfolios and all the investment information of investing in gold and precious metals in the age of Trump. But you also get to talk to Philip Patrick and the team. Up to July 10th, with a qualifying purchase, you get a free 1 ounce silver round. This is not a coin, it's a round. So check it out. Also,
Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about
Running on empty, brain fog, can't focus, and those sugar-loaded energy drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of Real America's Voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and get an automatic 15% off your entire order. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Hey, y'all. It's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
It's Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, Rav, for giving us a place to chat and connect. See y'all in chat.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
Jerome Corsi's with us. He agrees with Wayne Allen Root that there's definitely a predicate out there that can be shown and proven, and you can write on top of that predicate of foreign involvement in our elections, that you can write a national security emergency executive order off that deals with many of the issues, probably actually in a better way than the Save America Act. Dr. Corsi, you called the Democratic Socialist a revolutionary party. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, they intend the overthrow of the United States government. They started out as communists, neo-Marxists. They evolved into cultural Maoists. And, Obama was very deeply involved with the Democratic Socialists of America. And he started the coup d'etat to destroy the Constitution right in the 2016 election, when he started saying that there was Russian collusion invented by Obama and Hillary in order to destroy Donald Trump's first presidency. And so these people are revolutionaries. They try to present themselves as moderates, but their policies come right out of the Maoist and Marxist handbook for overthrowing the country. And they will not be faithful to any oath of office they take to preserve, protect, and defend the United States, and they shouldn't be seated if they did win the election.
Let me ask you that, the last question. Give me the reason why, specifically, that the three reps that won their primary and therefore won the general of the DSA that Mandami promoted in January of next year, what is the logic? What's your rationale for not seating those three individuals in the new Congress?
Well, the rationale is very simple. When you're seated in Congress, you have to take an oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution. That doesn't mean to overthrow the United States Constitution or replace it with a Marxist or communist constitution. It means to defend the one we have. And especially if these people try to seat themselves in Congress, they'll only be there to destroy, have more ideas that don't work, more ideas that are negative, more ideas that have been proven through history not to work, but to destroy. That's why they're proposing these ideas. They want to destroy. And some of their elected mayors, I think Donald Trump, especially in D.C., has a necessity to say that you're not going to serve as mayor of D.C. because we're not going to have a communist run the District of Columbia.
No, she's probably the most radical of them all. Dr. Corsi, I want to immerse this audience in the next 24 to 48 hours in your concept of the executive order. Where do people go right now? What's your website? What's your social media? Where do we go to immerse ourselves in this so we can understand it better and then get up on the ramparts and start acting as a forcing function on this? Where do people go?
The website is gods5stones.com. That's G-O-D, no apostrophe in the S, F-I-V-E, you spell out 5, and stones is plural, and there's stolen elections. You can see Andrew Paquette's papers, and it shows you the algorithms, shows you how they take money through Act Blue, which is laundered through the banks, how the people like Bannon and Obama, Clapper, these people were engaged in a coup d'etat, and how, in fact, they are utilizing child and sex exploitation for money in order to fuel their NGOs through Act Blue. And the key issue here is if you take a look at God's 5 Stones and take 10 minutes and really study these papers, you'll see that our election system was designed in order to cheat and steal elections. Our current rules are rules that only make sense if your goal was to steal the election. And that's particularly true with registering non-citizens, not having voter IDs, having general mail-in ballots, all of these, harvesting ballots, it goes on and on. All of these are extending the days of counting the election. All of these are ways for the Democrats to win elections in the computer that they lost in the ballot box. And it will happen most certainly again in 2026. Donald Trump's only recourse is to do an executive order to save our voter integrity, to save the republic, and prevent these revolutionaries from succeeding in a coup d'etat.
God's 5 Stones. We'll send everybody there right now. Look forward to having you back. I notice you're in D.C. and hopefully connect. Dr. Jerome Corsi, thank you so much for joining us in the afternoon version of The Worm, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Steve. God bless.
I think Dr. Corsi has laid out the problem. We have the establishment Republicans have let fester a revolutionary movement, this kind of red-green alliance, and it is coming for all of us, and it's got to be stopped. And if you can't do the Save America, we can't tap dance around this and have all these different alternatives, and we're going to attach to this, time to stop. As President Trump says, no games. Games are over. Mark Lucas, thank you for joining us. You've got this veterans group. You're an expert. You're a former Army major. We have been sold, or if you watch MSNBC, literally nonstop, one of the reasons that this situation with the Supreme Court and mail-in ballots is great is that mail-in ballots principally help our troops in the field. Is that correct, sir?
That's always been the argument, going back to 2009 and 2010 when Chuck Schumer worked with Barack Obama to pass the MOVE Act, which was the military and overseas voting empowerment. They said, we've got to protect the votes for our troops. Well, I was in Afghanistan in 2010. It was the deadliest year of the war. I was an infantry platoon leader in the middle of nowhere, and we were surging forces. I was still able to perform my duties as a voting officer to fill out my ballot for me, and for my men fill out their ballots as well, and we're able to send them back, right? So what they really try to do is they try to use this cover to say, we need to extend the mail-in voting deadline. We need to count more of these ballots to ensure that we never leave a soldier behind or their vote. Well, in fact, since the MOVE Act passed, every subsequent election, the military turnout has gone down. And most of the American people, when they watch the election returns on election night, they hear about these overseas ballots, and they think, well, those must be our service members. Well, over 70% of those overseas ballots cast in 2024 were civilians. We've seen through what we call UACAVA, which is the Uniformed and Overseas Civilians Absentee Voting Act, that we see a growing percentage of civilians casting their vote. And we have these state election officials and all the usual suspects like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia. These election officials are exploiting these loopholes by allowing more and more civilians to vote, and they're not verifying their eligibility.
Hang on. You're telling me that in these critical swing states, that 1,000 votes here or 1,500 votes there, that when we look at night in the election night and see these overseas ballots to be counted, 70%, 70, are coming from civilians, sir?
Over 70% are civilian voters. And we see people like in the state of Georgia who show up to polling places with UACAVA ballots. These are overseas ballots that should be being mailed. People are showing up hand-delivering these. In Maricopa County, they received ballots via fax and email that were proven to be printed and counted multiple times, the same ballots. In the state of Michigan, in 2020, state law prohibited any ballots being counted that were delivered via email or fax, and they had specific instructions to mark them as rejected. They counted over 10,000 of those ballots. And in the state of Wisconsin, there was somebody convicted for requesting UACAVA ballots that were delivered here to a United States postal address to 3 fictitious people. So, Steve, you're absolutely right. 1,000 ballots here, 1,000 ballots there can be a major deciding factor in these races. I've heard from candidates that they believe that they lost their election in 2024 and 2022 because of the UACAVA ballot problem.
What are we doing to resolve this?
Well, the DOJ, DHS, even the Pentagon is aware of this problem. The Secretary of War has incredible authority over UACAVA ballots. He's the presidential designee, and he can ensure that the guidance is being followed by these state election officials. And UACAVA ballots does not get people out of voter ID. It does not get people out of proving residence. We have a problem in some of these states, like Pennsylvania, for instance, where they will allow people who have never resided in the United States to cast a UACAVA ballot. So you could be a State Department employee with a child who's they grew up in Virginia, they're living in France, and they have never once stepped foot in the state of Georgia, but they could say, there's a consequential vote in the state of Georgia. Instead of casting my ballot in Virginia, I'm going to cast it in this critical battleground state. And in fact, you have to have a proven residence in the United States of America before you can even cast a UACAVA ballot. There's very little verification on eligibility and identification, and that's why we're pushing to revise the federal postcard application to have that ID verification, whether it's a driver's license, social security number, a passport, and many of these election officials know it, and they're just exploiting this loophole.
Mark, where do they go right now to find out more information about this specific topic?
You can go to veteranaction.org. We have an action center that I built in the same model of the Article 3 project. And you can contact your lawmakers, let them know how you feel on this issue and many others, including veterans legislation, increase access to health care.
I'm going to go over there tonight, and then we'll contact you and we'll get you back on. Because they leave no stone unturned on how they maximize their ability to steal elections. No stone unturned. This is how cunning they are. Mark, what's your coordinates on your social media?
At Mark Lucas USA on Getter, Truth, and X.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you and the work.
Thank you.
Veterans Action. Get that website up there. Eric Eggers. Peter Schweizer's wingman, Winton Hall's wingman, next in the war room.
I always hear about how we should take care of our disabled veterans.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good. I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
This is Tim King, also known as USS Malik, and I love Real America's Voices for its like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
Howdy, RAV fans. This is Warbringer here. Love you all. RAV is the only place to get the truth, and this is the only way we're going to be able to restore our republic. Love you all. See you in the chat.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois, and we like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts to everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
Eggers joins us. Eric, government accountability, the institution you run with Peter, you got Winton Hall, you guys do some of the best research out there. In 2018, you wrote a book about election fraud and what we had to do to secure our elections. Is any of this just random? Are these just mistakes that, elderly people make in compiling the ballots, or a well-intentioned clerk someplace in Montana, inadvertently mails things out to the wrong people, or they count some way? Or is this a systematic way that Democrats steal elections, sir?
Yeah, if your question is the exploitation of and preservation of the vulnerabilities that exist in America's elections all one coincidental happy accident that all seem to skew election results in one way? Based on my research, Steve, the answer is no. This is a very intentional and active effort to perpetuate lots of vulnerabilities. Actually, I'd give you some credit, right? When you were helping to run the Government Accountability Institute with me and Peter Schweizer and Winton Hall after the 2016 election, we commissioned a study, and we said we want to take a look at these voter rolls. We want to see what sort of duplicate voting, what other errors may have existed, and we found over 2,000 instances of voter fraud in the state of Florida alone in 2016. And so we said, okay, clearly there's more. So we did what we do. We followed the money, we followed the data, we hired forensic experts, and we did an analysis. And what we came back with is that America's elections, and this is again 2018, highly susceptible for fraud. The same money, the same groups that fight to keep the elections incredibly vulnerable are funding the groups that exploit those vulnerabilities. And those vulnerabilities basically revolve around three different ways. You got problems with voter rolls, you've got problems with mail-in balloting, and you got problems with active groups who go out and collect those ballots and then kind of act as intermediaries between the voter and the people who count the ballots. And then in 2020, as you well know, we cast the most ballots ever in the least secure way possible. And then we were told by the helpful people at social media outlets and by government officials that no, in fact, it was the most accurate and secure election possible. And anyone who dared disagree was deplatformed at best and imprisoned at worst. And I heard you talk about Tina Peters earlier today, and I'm so glad that the work that you've done and others in your audience to help get her out. But no, this has not been an accident. This has been a part of an ongoing effort, and thank God President Trump has taken this issue seriously. And I actually think, I talk about this a lot, as I'm sure you know, and you do too. But I think we're in an incredibly different place. Look, you just had half an hour on your show about election integrity. Imagine doing that in 2019. It just wasn't there. That's not where the country was. But it is where we are now. And I think that the Trump administration is taking this issue incredibly seriously. In addition to the issues that you just had your guest raise, I know that Homeland Security is withholding money from states who don't take this issue seriously. They're going to force them to audit the hand counts of these ballots. They're going to force them to run their voter rolls through citizenship databases at the federal level. So things are getting better in spite of the recent Supreme Court decision.
So, Eric, if that's the case, and I agree with you, things are trending in the right direction now. We're burning daylight, not nearly close to what we need to clean this mess up. How can the Supreme Court, and doesn't the Supreme Court's ruling from the other day go against all the evidence you and government accountability and other groups have put out there consistently? Aren't they exacerbating what the problem is by basically condoning voter month?
Oh, there's no doubt, right? And it's not, and it's not like the left is going to all of a sudden say, "Hey, everybody, we got it wrong." I guess the court isn't going to legislate from the bench. I guess we no longer need to stack the court. But this was an unhelpful ruling by the Supreme Court. Obviously, every evidence that anyone has ever presented says that the longer you allow ballots to come in, whether they're postmarked or not, the more distance and space you have between the person that casts the ballot and the person who counts it, and when those elections actually get certified, the less accurate, less secure, and less amount of confidence America has. And as you know, confidence in election results are kind of what keep this country together. So it's an incredibly important thing. I know that was decided on like a legal technicality, and you heard some discussion about, is election day actually just one day, or is it this season? But I do think people are waking up. When you see states like California, and in Washington, there's a move to require proof of citizenship when you register to vote. But those are states, Steve, among others, that you could literally experience a biblical flood in the amount of time it takes to send out the ballots and then certify the election. They got 40 days. And everyone is saying that that's way too long. That's not enough. So a Supreme Court decision aside, I live in Florida, where we had our own moment in the sun, not in a helpful way, in the 2000 recount. And then they took it seriously. They got it together, and you don't see those problems in Florida anymore. I think you'll see more states follow suit. John Cornyn's defeat recently, I think, sends a message to many politicians that election integrity is something American people are taking very seriously, because all the evidence says you have to.
Eric, you guys were also, and you were a prime mover in this, the book Invisible Coup, that I think shocked the country and even some of the elites in the country about what you guys exposed, particularly about foreign governments exploiting our immigration laws and gaps that you could drive a truck through where they drive tanks through. Correct me if I'm wrong. After President Trump read the book that Peter dropped off at the Oval Office when he had the meeting with him, did President Trump attend the oral argument of the Supreme Court on the very topic that they issued this ruling today, sir?
Steve, not only did President Trump make history by becoming the first ever sitting president to attend oral arguments in a Supreme Court case in our nation's 250-year history, he was present when information from this book was presented by the Solicitor General to Supreme Court justices. So this is an issue we've led on. This book came out in January. The whole concept of birth tourism and birthright citizenship is not something I think many people were talking about until we exposed, and Peter Schweizer, as you know, incredibly talented American patriot. I think this is the most important issue in the country today. And you saw the fact that it's generated so much discussion because I think, in my opinion, the Supreme Court got it wrong kind of at the top level. Now, I'm not saying the 14th Amendment doesn't say that people who are born here shouldn't be citizens, but the reality is that loophole, the fact that the law says that, is being actively exploited, just like vulnerabilities in our election system. It's being actively exploited by people who want to undermine our sovereignty and undermine our democracy. Steve, in 2011, the China People's Daily newspaper ran an article about all the benefits of U.S. citizenship. And since then, that's 15 years ago. Since then, you've had over 1,000 different industry or 1,000 different companies pop up in China actively promoting and advertising birth tourism. Say, hey, we'll give us 50, 60 grand. We'll bring you to the North Mariana Islands. We'll bring you to Los Angeles. We'll tell you how to lie to customs officials. We'll tell you how to wear loose clothing so it doesn't look like you're pregnant. And then we'll tell you how to skip out on your hospital bill, sticking the American taxpayers. It's the most perverse and inhuman form of unrestricted warfare that the Chinese have been engaging in for decades. But it's absolutely something that they have talked about. They sell it, and the Chinese elites and officials take advantage of it. And the numbers that we've reported on based on Chinese research and academics and elsewhere, we think up to 1 million people may be able to start voting in the United States because they have U.S. citizenship by 2030.
And they could get one of these overseas ballots. I mean, they could actually live in Beijing but be eligible to vote in the United States, correct?
Yeah, I mean, per your last guess, I guess they could potentially take advantage of UOCAVA. So, yeah, they have U.S. citizenship. They have the ability to cast ballots. And here's the irony, Steve. This is not like a commonly held reciprocal practice. There are more countries in the World Cup this year than countries that practice and participate in this level of birthright citizenship. And you know who doesn't participate in it? China, or basically kind of any country who means to do us harm. Right. So, I mean, this is like not a good old boys agreement. All you have to do is ask these social media companies who have to insanely modify their products and their offerings when they want to do business in China, how reciprocal agreements work in China. They don't believe in the concept of them, but we're inviting tens of thousands of Chinese elites to come and take advantage of our border and citizenship policies each year.
Eric, last thing, by the way, tomorrow we're going to go through some of those countries. You'll be shocked, Haiti, et cetera, but there's no really prominent countries except for Canada, but we'll deal with all that.
El Salvador can get away with it because who's trying to go to El Salvador to become a citizen there? That's not a problem.
Exactly, not an issue. Eric, what would you tell the president then, given that this was a pretty hard decision today ruling? What is your and Peter's recommendation? How do we unwind the Chinese birth tourism? Is there any way we can unwind this?
Well, what you can do is actually take enforcing the law seriously. So, the Obama administration, now this will shock you. The Obama administration was soft on this. The Obama administration expanded visas from 1 year to 10 years. And they said, hey, come on in. We'll have reciprocal agreements. The Obama administration told consular officials that they did not need to. In fact, were not allowed to deny or turn away visitors to this country who clearly were pregnant and didn't ask them if they're coming here specifically for the purpose of having a child, or couldn't turn them away if they were told the specific purpose of them coming here was to have a child. You've got these birth tourism businesses, again, over 1,000 of them in China, that you could crack down on those. You can change the law about some of those things. You can get rid of those companies, not allow them to do business here. I think you have to kind of start with where is it being actively exploited? What do we have control over? And then, I'm not a legal expert, but I do believe Justice Kavanaugh's dissent, as Senator Schmidt and others have noted, potentially leaves the door open for congressional action to try to revise some language about what it means to be in the jurisdiction of. So that's the top level way you would address it. But I think at the local level, man, you got to get rid of these companies. You got to enforce the law, and you got to start taking seriously who we're letting in this country and why, and are they here to exploit our policies to actively undermine our sovereignty?
Eric, where do people go if they haven't read Invisible Coup? You have to, because this is going to be active. We have not shut this down yet. We got a really chop block today by the Supreme Court, but people want to take action on this. Where do people go to understand what the problem is? Where do they go to the book? Where do they go to the organization?
Well, I'd rather them buy my book first, Steve. I've still got kids in the house I'm trying to feed, you know. But Peter's book matters too. And no, I think you can go to thedrilldown.com. Obviously, that's a podcast that Peter and I do. The Invisible Coup. Look, the reality is this, and Peter's we have done, with your help, ground-breaking investigative journalism for the 12, 13 years we've been in existence here at the Government Accountability Institute. Everything from Clinton cash to blood money. We broke the Hunter Biden story, but I would say Invisible Coup and exposing the way that these foreign elites, as part of their unrestricted warfare campaign, are actively undermining our border policies to take back and erode our sovereignty is the most important issue in the country today. So Invisible Coup is a must read, and you should find that book at wherever you like to buy your books. But the podcast Peter and I do present information from there and other important topics, and you can find all those episodes at thedrilldown.com.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Great work. Tell Peter and Winton, fantastic. Great work.
Steve, you're the best. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Do you have Cameron Kinsey? We got a minute on this side. I'm going to hold you through. Thank you for joining us on the week of the 250th commemoration of the birth of the nation, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you, Steve.
Talk to me about this special deal. If you're a little sideways with the IRS, we got a minute. Tell me where I go and what do I do to take advantage of the special offer Tax Network USA has given us.
Well, look, we have launched this special promotion for qualifying taxpayers. So this is for our listeners who have filed that October 15th extension. Before Tax Network USA prepares your return, we'll pull your official IRS master tax file so we can see exactly what the IRS has on you before you file. So we'll review your W-2s, your 1099s, and the information that has already been reported to the IRS. So your return is being prepared using the exact same records that they have. So it's an extra layer of protection and confidence for you. It helps reduce those risks of mistakes before your file is returned, or your return is filed. Excuse me.
Hang on for 1 second. We're going to hold you through the break. What's the phone number people call right before we go to break?
866-513-5516, or you can go to tnusa.com/Bannon as well.
Hang on for 1 second. This is a free offer and no obligation. It's a freebie. Take advantage of it. Short break. Cameron on the other side.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
This is Tim King, also known as USS Malik, and I love Real America's Voices for its like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
Howdy, Rab fams. It's Warbringer here. Love you all. Rab is the only place to get the truth, and this is the only way we're going to be able to restore our republic. Love you all. See you in the chat.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois, and we like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts to everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
Cameron, talk to me. This is a little more. This is a pretty serious. What you guys are teeing up. Walk me through one more time. And people I know sometimes are nervous, but I want you to take advantage. We're going to give you the number again. This is very important. You get a real sense of what the IRS thinks about you, which I think will be important. What do people do? Where do they go?
Yes, well, they can go to tnusa.com/Bannon or call 866-513-5516. And, I want to cover this really quickly, Steve, because I know a lot of War Room Posse has already taken advantage of our free investigative call. That service was really designed for people who already thought that they had an IRS problem. So for that, we determined whether the IRS had an agent assigned to their case, how much they may owe, which tax years were involved in that process. But this promotion serves a completely different purpose. This is for Posse members who still need to file their 2025 return and want to file it correctly. So before we prepare that return, we pull their official IRS master tax file so we can see exactly what the IRS has on record. That helps us verify the information that's been reported and prepare a return that matches their records exactly. So one service helps people understand existing IRS issues, while this promotion is helping Posse members, qualifying taxpayers file with greater confidence before that October 15th extension. Helps with, negating audits and things like that as well. But here's again, this is where the savings come in. If you have a simple W-2 return, your IRS master tax file pull, your federal tax return, that would normally cost you more than $250, but we're doing it for the War Room Posse for just $49. And if you're self-employed, receive 1099 income, have a side hustle, maybe you're your own boss, that service could cost you more than $1,000, just depending on the complexity of your case. But we're going to do that complete package for you for just $300. So take advantage of this. Let's just get this, over with. So many people wait until the last minute with the October 15th extension. So let's get ahead of it.
And they got the angst and the anxiety. One more time, what's the number, Cameron? They go and talk to Tax Network USA.
Yep. Go see if you qualify. See if Steve or say myself has sent you as well. It's 866-513-5516. Again, that's 866-513-5516. Just call us. We'll see if we can help you out and see if you qualify.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Trevor Comstock, you're here to commemorate and help celebrate the 250. Do we have a 4th of July special 250 deal over at Sacred Human Health, sir?
Yeah, great to see you, Steve. Yes, we are currently running our 4th of July sale, so feel free to use code JULY at checkout for 20% off any one-time order. Of course, I wanted to mention that, but also I wanted to highlight our new organic beetroot product. The feedback on it's been amazing, but we always get a lot of questions around it as well. So for anyone that doesn't know, the organic beetroot is really just a formula designed to support heart health, healthy circulation, and overall cardiovascular wellness. So what's really great about the organic beetroot is that it is rich in naturally occurring nitrates that help support nitric oxide production in the body. And nitric oxide just plays a huge role to help support healthy blood flow and circulation, which is essential for overall heart health. And then within the formula, we also included the grapeseed extract, which just provides antioxidant support to support healthy blood vessel function and overall cardiovascular wellness. So, what I love most about the product is that it's definitely not loaded with like stimulants or anything artificial. And it really is just focused on supporting your heart and circulation at the foundational level, so you can support your overall wellness long term. So just overall, it's an amazing product to help support a healthy heart, healthy blood flow, circulation, circulation, and like I mentioned, the cardiovascular health as well. And just obviously just a great product to add to your overall wellness routine, to support your energy and vitality. So like I said, people have been loving it so far. I'm really happy about it. And of course, if you have questions about that product or any other ones, you can just let us know.
Go website one more time, and I want people to read the reviews. You immerse yourself in all the detail of the products. Read the reviews. Read what people that are actually users of these, customers of these, think about them. Trevor, one more time.
Yeah, you can go to sacredhumanhealth.com or just type in Sacred Human in Google. And then, like I mentioned, you can use code July at checkout for 20% off any one-time order.
Wow. What a way to commemorate the birth of the nation. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Trevor, always.
Thank you.
Hardworking young man, making it happen. Mike Lindell, we're going to be with you for hours tomorrow, so we want to talk deals, but you're like flying to Fargo and then driving 4 hours to the Badlands to be with the president to open the Teddy Roosevelt Library. 4 hours. I can drive from D.C. to past New York in 4 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be a long drive, but I'll do a lot of phone calling then, and I'll get through it. But I got to get out there and help celebrate this opening tomorrow.
Amazing. Talk to us about deals, sir. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, you guys, we're celebrating. This is what we're celebrating, is celebrating 250 years for our great nation and the 4th of July here. So what better way to do it than the made in the USA products that MyPillow makes? These are the ones we all make. We've got the premium MyPillows, the ones that made us famous. We've sold over 85 million, but this is the lowest price ever. So get it for every room in the house, $19.98 for the king, or $18.98 for the queen. And there you have body pillows, $39.98 with free pillowcase. We have bolster pillows. We have go anywhere pillows, every pillow you would need. And then we have our beds. We have our mattress toppers and our mattresses that are the best mattresses you will ever sleep on. Use that promo code War Room. You get free shipping on your entire order. That's on my employees. That's on us. Free shipping, 50% off the mattresses. Check it out. 6-month money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty. But go to mypillow.com/War Room, and you're going to see the other made in the U.S. products like my cross that I wear. Get those $80 off. Men and women's crosses. They're absolutely awesome. And then you have, and all of our products have 10-year get money back here, 10-year warranties. So you have also, it's 2 sales are colliding. We're coming out with our next sale here, but we're doing the War Room Posse early. Our kitchen, all our stuff in our kitchens are on sale. And all the stuff in the bathroom, our 6-piece towel sets, $34.98 for the War Room Posse. Free shipping on your entire order, 800-873-1062. Talk to my employees now. Give them the promo code War Room and get the discounts and free shipping on your entire order. We'll see you tomorrow, Steve.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you tomorrow. By the way, House members today trying to help the Save America Act froze up the floor. Johnson said no mas. They sent them home. They're not back to July 14th. We'll have more on this executive order tomorrow morning. Stick around. The second hour of the War Room is upon us. We're going to leave you with the Grubers' magnificent song, One Nation.
The Summer of Soccer is available with Fubo. Stream your favorite players.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of Real America's Voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, and inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and